New York City has its own heartbeat. It lives in the hurried click of heels on frost-bitten pavement, the steam hissing from sidewalk grates, and the relentless subterranean roar of the iron veins running deep beneath the asphalt. Most days, people move through these stations like ghosts, eyes fixed downward, rushing towards somewhere else, wrapped entirely in their own private worlds. But on the afternoon of January 2nd, 2007, inside the 137th Street station in Manhattan, time decided to stutter. Meet Wesley Autrey, a 50-year-old construction worker, a proud Navy veteran, and above all else, a father. He's standing right there on the platform, bundled up against the winter freeze, holding tightly to the small, gloved hands of his two little girls, Shi and Shukwi. They are laughing, talking about the children's show they're heading out to see. Wesley looks down at them, smiling that wide, reassuring fatherly smile. He is a man who knows hard work, a man who knows responsibility. He thinks this is just another ordinary Tuesday. He has no idea that less than 30 feet away, a quiet tragedy is hurtling toward a collision with destiny. A few yards down the platform stands 20-year-old Cameron Holopeter, a bright young college student with his whole life unwritten, rushing to get where he needs to be. But suddenly, an invisible wave crashes over him, a wave of sudden, violent illness. His chest seizes. His eyes lose their focus. Before anyone can process what is happening, Cameron collapses hard against the cold concrete floor. A medical seizure takes hold of his body, shaking him mercilessly. The platform crowd freezes. A collective shock ripples through the commuters. But Wesley doesn't hesitate. Leaving his daughters in the care of two brave women nearby, Wesley sprints over. He kneels down in the dirt, seeing the young man choking. Without a second thought, Wesley reaches into his pocket, pulls out a pen, and prees Cameron's jaw open to keep him from swallowing his tongue, fighting desperately to pull him back from the edge of darkness. The seizure passes. Cameron, pale, disoriented, and weak, struggles to his feet. For a brief second, there is a sigh of relief, but vertigo strikes. Cameron's legs buckle beneath him. He stumbles backward, once, twice, and then with terrifying finality, he slips right off the edge of the platform. And then the sound, the screech of iron on iron. From the dark mouth of the tunnel, the northbound 1 train emerges. Its blinding headlight cuts through the gloom like a knife. The operator slams down the emergency brakes, but physics is a cruel master. A multi-ton behemoth hurtling at 15 miles per hour cannot stop on a dime. It is 200 feet away, then 100, closing the distance with the terrifying speed of an oncoming avalanche. Down on the tracks, Cameron lies motionless, trapped in the direct path of death. On the platform, Wesley's heart slams against his ribs. He looks up and sees his two precious little daughters staring down at the tracks, their eyes wide with a terror no child should ever have to know. He hears his eldest daughter scream out,
"Daddy, no!"
In that fraction of a second, the universe narrows down to a razor's edge. Wesley has a choice. He can stay safe, stand back, and watch a stranger die. Or he can step into the abyss. He doesn't even blink. With the roar of the train screaming in his ears, Wesley dives headfirst off the platform. He hits the ballast stones hard. He scrambles to Cameron, his mind racing. Asterisk, can I drag him up? No, there's no time. The train is already here. He spots it. A narrow, shallow drainage trough. A concrete utility trench sitting right between the rails, barely a foot deep. With supernatural strength born of pure adrenaline and love for humanity, Wesley grabs Cameron by the collar. He violently shoves the young man down into the shallow trench, flattening him against the gravel. And then, in an act of staggering, unimaginable self-sacrifice, Wesley throws his own body directly on top of Cameron's, curling his frame like a protective shell. He presses his face into the dirt. He looks down at the terrified young stranger trembling beneath him and speaks into his ear over the deafening roar of the rails.
Listen to me, son. You can't move. I've got two little girls up there waiting for their daddy to come back. I don't know you, and you don't know me, but don't panic. I'm right here. I've got you.
And then, The train arrives. The front of the train slams over them. The clearance between the bottom of the rushing rail car and the floor of that concrete trench is precisely 21 inches. Wesley's broad shoulders and Cameron's body fill nearly every fraction of that space. The undercarriage of the train screams inches above Wesley's back. The wind generated by the passing cars tears at his jacket. The heavy smell of hot grease, burning rubber, and iron fills the air. Car after car rumbles overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To Wesley, every second stretches into an eternity. He feels the vibrations thrumming through his bones, threatening to crush him. He thinks of his daughters. He prays. He holds Cameron tighter, refusing to let the world take him. Finally, with a final shudder of grinding brakes, the train comes to a dead stop, resting its second car squarely over where the two men lay. Silence drops over the station like a heavy blanket. For a terrifying moment, nobody moves. The platform is dead silent, save for the muffled weeping of children. Then a voice cuts through the dark from beneath the iron monster. "Hey, down there! Are you guys okay?" A shaky, dust-covered hand reaches up from the tracks. Wesley shifts his weight, coughs through the thick cloud of subway dust, and calls back up into the light.
Yeah, we're okay, but tell them to cut the power. I've got my kids up there waiting for me.
When the rescue crews finally arrived and cut the power, lifting the two men from the tracks, the world learned what true heroism looks like. Cameron Hallpeter walked away with only minor cuts and bruises. Wesley Autrey climbed back up onto that platform, brushed the soot off his cap where black train grease had left its permanent mark, and walked straight into the tearful, trembling arms of his little girls. The media would later call him the Subway Superman, the hero of Harlem. Honors, medals, and national praise would follow, but when interviewers asked Wesley why he did it, why he traded his life for a total stranger, he looked confused by the question. He didn't see himself as a superhero. He just saw a fellow human being who needed help. Because on a freezing January afternoon in the heart of New York City, Wesley Autrey proved that true strength isn't about having superpowers. It's about choosing love over fear, standing between a stranger and the dark, and deciding that every single life on this earth is worth fighting for.
Subscribe.